This has been a fun night. There's been some crazy stuff here, and it sounds like the Vikings are going to have some phone calls. By the way, Peter Schrager said, according to the Steelers passing on Shedeur Sanders, that this is Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, and that's the future.
Okay.
So it's now being reported credibly that, by the way, the Packers are picking. They have not traded.
Oh, that's good for us.
Yeah.
That's good for us.
The pick is in for the Green Bay Packers, which means the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock.
Hey, hold on. I gotta get the flag.
Pop up.
I gotta get up. Hold on. I'm old.
Go.
There we go. Oh, look at that. There we go. There. Had to get that mic cord around a chair.
The sports dad.
Oh, I'm gonna be sore in the morning.
Let's go, dude.
All right.
All right. Hey, by the way, give yourselves a round of applause. 3 hours grinding it out here. The Vikings are on the clock with the 24th overall pick.
We're 30 minutes earlier than last year.
Yeah, this is great.
We're cruising.
Yeah, because last year really
It's like,
dragged.
yeah, last year was terrible.
We did kind of map it out just to figure like, all right, let's pin it down. And it was like 10:15
Yeah.
that the 24th, 25th pick came around. So
Phil sent a list with where the picks were made.
Yeah.
What time?
We're like 3 hours past Phil's bedtime.
show prep anxiety. Yeah, it is. It is. The Mackies would normally be, probably in bed about 15 minutes ago. So unless there's a playoff game. So, all right, the Packers have made their pick.
Receiver.
The Packers have made their pick. They have finally taken a wide receiver in the first round. Matthew Golden, wide receiver to the Green Bay Packers.
The one Packer fan here.
We have a Packer
Where are you?
fan.
He's a Packer fan. He loves it. That takes a lot of guts to come here wearing a Packer jersey. I told you that before.
But you're a Timberwolves fan. All right. That's right. Yeah. Okay, you can redeem yourself if you get a Wolves in 5 chant going right now.
Beautiful.
Love it.
All right, Vikes.
Everyone gets along.
All right.
Do something.
Wild in 6. Okay.
I got Wild at 6.
Yeah, let's go.
Wild winning tonight. I think it's 2-1 still. Last I looked.
So, all right, over to the scoop sofa over here. Boys, Doogie and then Forno. What are we thinking Vikings on the clock right now?
I mean, they're entertaining calls. I mean, whether it's the Browns, the Giants, we just heard the Eagles report. I'm not trading with Howie Roseman. I'm out on that. I am not making a move with the Eagles. So while I'm open to moving back, it's not with Philadelphia, okay? Yeah. But whether it's the Browns, the Giants, perhaps the Chiefs at 31, the Vikings are on the phone right now.
Yeah, you trade with Howie Roseman, you're putting yourself in a Brandon Beane situation where you're the Bills trading with the Chiefs, and you're like, what are you doing? Why would you do this to yourself? Because I was talking with one of the lovely people in the audience, like, hey, if it's the Vikings' year to win the Super Bowl, which I do think it is, who do they have to beat? It's the Eagles. Right, the Eagles are still the top dog in the NFC. Don't allow them to get any stronger tonight.
Well, you're hoping in May that at the next owners' meetings or whatever that they just get rid of the tush push, and then the Eagles come down.
No shot.
Come down a notch, I guess.
Hey, the Packers want to get rid of it. You know, the Packers carry a lot of weight in this league.
Packers are, sorry.
It's a lot of whining and crying.
Yeah.
Forno, over to you on the scoop sofa. What are you thinking? Vikings are on the clock right now.
I think you should try and trade back, but I also think that you just don't trade back for anything. Make sure you're getting requisite value, because if you take a poor trade now, that's going to hinder everything that you try to do moving forward. So make sure you're getting a good trade. If you don't, I think one of Revel, Campbell, Burden, or Starks, I would feel very happy with any of those guys.
Yeah, so it's very secondary heavy right now, right?
Yeah, you can get your pick of the litter in the secondary. It's bonkers how many guys are available. It's only been Travis Hunter, who's a half and half player, and Jahdae Barron. That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is available.
Yeah, there's been I've seen a bunch of reports coming through here, by the way, on the Michigan cornerback, Will Johnson, that the medicals are why he's falling.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
I think they're going offensive line.
The pick is in.
Oh!
Here we go.
Okay.
They're getting their Blake Randall replacement.
With the 24th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Ohio State offensive lineman Donovan Jackson. Judd, get the flag.
I know someone who's very happy on this stage, and he's sitting to my left. Hold on. There we go. Get those flags out. The offensive line, 5 deep.
Donovan Jackson.
Wow.
So the Vikings have, in theory, found the final piece to their offensive line here. Forno, I know Forno, you got to jump and do some work. Just a quick evaluation before you go off into A-job land here for a second.
Donovan Jackson was a stud at left guard for Ohio State. Then after Josh Simmons ended up tearing his patella, kicked out to left tackle, and he went on such an insanity run, there was some discussion whether he should be given a shot at tackle in the NFL. But I think one of the things Jeremiah and I talked about before the show is if you put Tyler Booker in there, you can just move people. And I think Jackson can do some of that. A little bit of a lesser extent. He's not quite Booker, but I do think he gives you a really solidified interior of that offensive line. I ended up being wrong. I didn't think that they would take a guy on the offensive line, but they believe he can be a day one starter, which is what this pick tells me. And if he's a day one starter, Blake Brandel's making swing money anyways.
Yep.
So now you feel really comfortable with J.J. McCarthy, and you have a good core in front of him. And you know what? Now you only have to worry about replacing center the next couple years. You feel good about it.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick. You know, I had my reservations on Donovan Jackson, and I still do from an athletic profile piece. However, he is as solid as it comes when you ask for a consistency standpoint.
Yeah.
Right? He comes from an Ohio State team that has played tremendous talent, has been up and down. He's played SEC, he's played Big Ten. His ability to swing to tackle is probably what pushed him up into the first round. He was probably more of a day two pick if he just stayed at guard. His ability to swing at tackle, and now you're looking at, okay, bring back our guy, Darisaw, Jackson, Kelly, Fries, O'Neal.
Wow.
I'll take that
They got
any
five.
day of the week.
I think that's worthy of our vice president of Skull Champ operations
Absolutely.
here again. All right, John, fire it up, dude. Let's go,
baby.
Yeah. That's right.
So Jay, if Darisaw is not ready to start the season, because he's coming off, I know there's been time, but he's coming off a very significant knee injury. Does Brandel kick out to left tackle and Jackson play left guard, or does Jackson kick out to tackle? What's the solution there potentially?
I think you keep Brandel out to tackle because you'd want Donovan to find his home and stay in his home.
Okay.
Let's not.
You stay here.
You stay
in your
right
home.
here and develop into what we drafted you to be.
Okay.
Forno, you got a piece. What'd you say?
I don't know if the Vikings were offered this trade, but the Giants just moved up to 25, giving up $34.99 and a future third.
Woo.
So either they, one, weren't offered this trade by the Giants, or two, they were offered it and thought that Jackson was too good to pass up.
Yeah.
So that would tell you how much and highly they think of what Jackson's going to bring.
I think it's the latter, that there's even a fear that Houston here at 25 was going to go with Jackson. Jackson came here a couple weeks ago. The visit was said to be phenomenal. I just wonder, deep down, was Houston really going to take him?
Yeah.
Would you have felt better going Jackson at 33 or 36, not 24? But the number one goal tonight, I'm positive, was to replace Blake Brandel.
Yeah. Well, Dukes, think
And
about
so they accomplished that. It's not Booker, it's not Zabel, but they still got a guy I'm sure they love.
Kevin O'Connell, to bring it full circle back to 3 hours ago when we started the show. Kevin O'Connell stood at that podium after the Vikings got bounced from the playoffs, seething, and ripped his interior offensive line. He decided at that podium, we are replacing 3 starters along the interior of our offensive line for J.J. McCarthy to come in. And through free agency, they found a new starting center, a new right guard, and through the first round of the draft, they found a new starting left guard. He literally made that decision
and those last
minutes after they lost that game to the Rams.
And don't forget, too, those last 2 games, you know, if you go back to training camp last year, and I've talked about this, O'Connell wanted this to be a tougher team. He takes it very personally that the Vikings were considered to be a nice, sort of soft team.
Yeah, finesse.
And he sort of got that for the start of the season. But then when you got to the Lions game and the Rams game, they got pushed around. But I also think that this is, to me, this is the best part. The realization, and you'll love this, Jay, the realization that you have to have an offensive line that can push people around so you can get rushing yards. Like I think we have seen, I think the biggest thing, the maturation of Kevin O'Connell, 22, 23, 24, now this coming season, I think is the realization that if he wants to ever have his passing game be as good as it can be, the running game has to improve, and you can't shortchange it anymore.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. You look at the teams that make the deep Super Bowl runs, the teams that are consistently into the playoffs. Look what the Bills did this year. They're like, Josh Allen, we love you. You're great. We're going to run the ball with James Cook.
Yeah.
We're going to commit to the run game, and it's the one thing Kevin O'Connell hasn't been able to do. I question, did he want to do it? I think with this pick tonight, it's a clear cut. We're going to commit to running the football.
Yeah.
I also wonder too, and this is just again a theory, but you know, it's interesting that if you think about it, the Vikings traded up twice last year, first round. They stayed in 23 to take Addison. And I do wonder how much the 22 draft affected the perception in the building of, you know, we tried to outsmart the system. You get more picks, you get 10 picks, but there's 30% of that draft left. So I do wonder if there is now a prevailing theory of if we've got an idea of what we want, we'll either trade up to get it or we'll get it where we are. But accumulating picks is only valuable if you then kill it in the accumulation of the draft picks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that clip of KOC telling Kwesi, hey, Addison, just take Jordan
Check
Addison.
that news out that just
Popped across our screen.
The Giants jumped up to 25, and they took the second quarterback in tonight's draft, right? They took Jackson Dart.
Wow.
No, that's great. That's great news.
So Shedeur Sanders is falling past Jackson Dart.
The Giants are gianting.
I didn't have Jackson Dart in my top 100.
No.
Wow. There is not one single thing about Jackson Dart that tells me he can be a successful starting quarterback in the league.
Joe Judge's and Brian Dable's replacements are going to be given a great defense. Seriously.
Judge, congratulations. You're the new head coach of the Giants. How you feeling?
Exactly right. I mean, this is just incredible, though. This is just incredible. I love people trying to save their football jobs.
Yeah.
Jackson
Here's the
Dart,
question.
Jameis Williams, Russell Wilson. I need a camera. In that O-line.
Get him back on Hard Knocks.
I need Hard Knocks. Got to come back into that.
I'm awaiting confirmation, but I think it's an easy leap to believe the Giants called the Vikings. They offered 34, 99, and next year's third-round pick, and the Vikings said no.
Yeah.
Clearly, they thought Jackson was not going to be there at 34.
Yeah.
They had enough intel. They got their guy. I'm just wondering in the end, will they regret not making that trade?
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, in 2022,
I think that's what happened.
They decided, hey, the capital is more important than Kyle Hamilton or whoever else they could have taken. I think this is Kwesi. And again, I'll go back to the Vikings put that YouTube video out after the draft 2 years ago. Yep. And Kwesi was like on the phone. He had a couple deals, and KOC's like, dude, Addison, let's stick and pick here.
Right.
Let's make this happen. Hey, real quick, you guys. For those of you who are still here, we appreciate you hanging out with us for all 3 hours. Give yourselves a round of applause. We're going to stay live, by the way, until the end of the first round. So you're welcome to hang out with us. For those of you on the YouTube channel, we had 10,000 concurrent viewers at the time of that pick. So thank you guys for helping us grow this thing. If you haven't clicked that like button or the subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, please do so and help us keep building this incredible community of Vikings fans. It's been so much fun meeting so many of you. People from different states. Last year we had 29 different states represented. I don't know. I met people from probably half the states in the country tonight too. So, and then a shameless plug for our merch store. I know we have some new stuff here tonight at scorenorth.com/shop. That's scorenorth.com/shop. We got the Minnesota Math, 9 + 18 = 6. We got the Minnesota QB Rehab School swag, JJ to JJ. So yeah, and the QR code's on the screen here too, but scorenorth.com/shop. shop. The Falcons are trading back into round 1 right
Milrow
now.
probably.
Shadur. Yeah.
Michael Penix and Shadur Sanders.
Oh
and
my
Kirk
God.
Cousins.
Terry Fontenot, you don't know. I mean, the
I
dude
think
took Michael Penix last year.
I think they're doubling down at edge. I think this is Mike Green.
Oh.
Well, they should.
They should. Oh, you got hot takes coming in, Forno?
Oh, he's got a radio. He's got a radio. head.
Yeah.
He's got a radio.
We
head.
lost half
Tyler's
the scoop
big
couch.
time.
We lost half the scoop
Dude,
couch.
you can lay down on the scoop
Yeah,
couch
dude.
now.
Yeah,
You're
dudes.
good over there.
Real quick, back to before we move on about the Vikings saying no to that trade.
And I'm waiting for confirmation.
No,
I don't know that for
but no,
sure.
no, but like-
logically,
But
the Giants made that offer.
And I think that if they wanted a true starting lock guard, they weren't willing to bet that was going to be there in the third.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like they weren't willing to bet that was going to be there in the third, or maybe even the guy that they really wanted to be there at 36. Right? Because that's what was it, 39 or 36 that they got?
34.
34.
So you would have moved back 10 spots if they felt like Jackson wasn't going to be there, which I respect. I get.
Because I
understand
think
it.
Houston could have taken Jackson.
I think Houston was going to take
Houston
Jackson.
takes Jackson
Hometown
because-
guy. I think they thought
Correct.
Houston was taking Jackson.
And they got rid of Shaq Mason is out, Kenyon Green was out, Laramie Tunsil was out. That is a huge position of need for them. I think they were really nervous that, hey, even if we get out of this, we might lose our guy. And to your guys' point, I think I love that for this organization because it shows to me that they're willing to adapt, willing to grow, willing to learn from their mistakes.
Field Yates, by the way, one of the great football names in football media. So Field Yates says Donovan Jackson to the Vikings just might be my favorite pick of the night.
Hey. If Field says it, it's true.
By the end of this past season, he put elite tape on both guard and left tackle. An extremely dependable, selfless player. He's tough, rugged, and athletic. Excellent football player. I also pulled up, just for fun here, the NFL.com scouting profile from Lance Zierlein. Oh, you're going to love this here.
No, yeah.
Let me hover over the football sounder. So, broad-framed 3-year starter. You're kind of broad-framed, Jeremiah. Yeah. With core power and leg drive to hold the line of scrimmage or change it.
Football.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Guard prototype with thick chest, broad hips, long arms, and big hands. Able to punch and stay clinched from a distance.
Football.
Good night.
Uses core power, hip flexion, and hand resets to thwart the bull rush.
Football. Hip flexion sounds like an 80s band.
And uses length and upper body power to thump gap shooters.
Football.
Yeah.
Thumping's important, right?
Thump them. You got to thump them.
Thump their asses. That's right.
So do we also think that tonight, and it feels like the last 3 drafts, Addison, 23, the first pick in 24, you traded up 1 pick to get McCarthy, and now this. It does feel like KO, the power there, as far as personnel goes.
Yes.
I'm not saying he has the title. I don't even know what his contract says, but it really does feel like overall he's running the draft. Now, draft 1, I would say that wasn't necessarily the case. And I know that they traded up to get Dallas Turner last year, and that's where the meme came from, KO, like, whoa, wow. So I'm not saying he's running the entire draft, but it does feel like he has that first pick is his.
Yes, it's a little bit of the Wizard of the Odds, right? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, right? Quasi, go on up there. It will be, but like I'm back here just definitely pulling the strings on where we want to go. And I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
I'm 100% okay with that because while I love Quasi and I think he's very intelligent and I think he's got a really good plan, I don't think he is in his core, like Kevin O'Connell, a football guy.
Correct.
Right? Like to know what it is to bleed on the gridiron, to wear the shield, to know what you have to do to win.
Now you're just
games.
hunting for the football sounder.
I love the football sounder,
It's,
dude.
what
But like I don't think at his core he's not a football guy, and that's okay. There's a lot of successful guys in here.
Right.
But if they can work tandemly, and KOC goes, listen, I know what you're good at. Let's work together and allow me to work with some of the personnel that I want to build my system, and then you can work with the numbers and how we're going to fit the gap and all that stuff. That's where the magic can really happen with those two.
Hey, what's the worst you ever bled on the gridiron?
The stupid finger, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty gross.
Yeah, look at his little.
you got the baldy finger.
his Star Trek hand
It's
there.
pretty bad. I mean, that's That one, or I guess when I tore the ankle up a couple times too, so that's pretty good.
Baldy's got the one, but I think it's going like east.
Yeah, Baldy's is really bad. Have you seen? I think it's Woody Page or Alan Page, who's got the pinky.
Yeah,
it comes way down here. Yeah, that one's pretty bad too. Ooh, what do you got?
Okay, so the Falcons pick is in at number 26, and it's defensive end James Pierce Jr.
There you go.
All James Pierce Jr. So that puts the Ravens on the clock at 27. We have 6 picks left in the first round here. Last year they made their pick and then they moved back in. I don't think the Vikings are moving back into the first round here with only 3 picks remaining and none until 97. There's definitely a couple other things we're going to get into here that we haven't yet tonight. But let's keep going back. So Donovan Jackson is I love this for so many reasons. Just to put a bow on this conversation, and you kind of touched on it, Jay. With conviction, saying no to trade offers, knowing what you want. I'd rather, my grandpa was a trumpet player. And when he was teaching a young 10-year-old Phil Mackey how to play the instrument, right? He said, if you're going to make a mistake, make it confidently and loudly. And these teams that kind of maneuver their way back, I love it that they've said, hey, Jordan Addison, he's our guy. Donovan Jackson, he's our guy. And now this offensive line, with some of the depth behind it too, feels more loaded than it's been in a long time. So that's kind of my final thought. Yeah, I love this for the Vikings.
The one piece that I think is missing from this Vikings O-line is a true swing tackle, right? I mean, obviously you took Walter Rouse in the 6th last year. He's got some guard flex. We haven't seen a huge sample size of him, and you'd hope that he'd take some jumps, and maybe you guys would have better info on that than me, being at training camp practices and whatnot. But I do think in this draft there is a chance, depending on where they see guys, that there could be a swing tackle taken of a developmental guy that wants to come in and push Brian O'Neill as he gets older, right? Have a guy that if Darisaw gets dinged again, right? I do think a swing tackle might still be in play, unless they view Jackson as possibly being a swing tackle and being able to plug Brandel in if something were to happen.
What's Brandel's, in your opinion, what's his ability in that position for 2025? So he's the swing guy at tackle. Like he can do it, I know. But just from what you've seen of him, do you think that he would be serviceable? Because you got a left tackle coming off a major knee injury, and you got a right tackle who is getting along in the tooth and also has been dinged up, quite a bit in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think Brandel's best position is tackle.
Okay.
Right? I think he needed to fill a need at guard. They realized there's some guys that are better in space than they are in a phone booth. Right. And I think that Brandel is one of those guys that when he has space to work and he can get out and use his length effectively, it looks better than when all of a sudden he's got to move quickly in a tight space to get to length. Right. I do believe that that's probably better. And he's probably looking at like the 6th man type of thing where anyone that gets hurt, we feel really comfortable having that piece to move into. Started a lot of games, been in there. He could play all 4 positions there. That's a good place to be, to bring in some developmental guys to hopefully try and phase him out as you go through into years 26, 27, 28.
Let's throw it back to our guy Crisco from KS95, doing a great job in the audience tonight. Crisco.
Thank you. And I do want to say it's about to be the 3rd period. The Wild are up 4-1.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
4-1, Wild are up going into the 3rd period.
Wow.
I'm here with Manny from St. Paul, and he has a hot take followed by a question. Let's get your hot take first, buddy.
I love this. All right, so the hot take is or actually more or less, the Vikings offensive line will not allow the most sacks in the NFL this season.
Okay. Oh, you're saying like the fewest sacks?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so that's your hot take.
Okay,
And then what's your question about Tom Brady's comment?
So then my question is, what do you guys believe from Tom Brady when he says, when he's talked to JJ, that he sees a younger version of himself?
Yeah, well, on one hand, it is Tom Brady's moral, ethical football duty to pump the tires of every Michigan quarterback and player. So, but yeah, I think, and Tom is a tire pumper, like that's his personality. But yeah, I think he does go out of his way to say good things about JJ McCarthy, and that's a good thing. Oh, is it post-game brew time?
Yeah.
Dexter.
You're handing those out.
Oh, we're getting Brock
handing those out.
Chug it, chug it.
Have a great night.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
To the O-line question, I don't think we can do that just with the amount that we pass the football. Right, the team that's going to give up the fewest sacks is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers because they're only going to throw it 150 times this year.
Yeah.
We'll surpass that by week 6, right? So just by the law of averages, we're going to give up too many sacks this year just because we throw. It's like the Bengals, right? The Bengals are going to throw the ball out the livelong day. You're going to give up more sacks the more attempts that you have of throwing the football.
Yeah.
KOC's DNA is pass.
Yeah.
Searles, how tough is that too from when you're going, all right, so he's played left guard a few years ago. He then moves to tackle in 2024. We've heard all the time. I think it's easy for football fans and Viking fans to say, hey, just put tackle at guard. And I know that is not as simple as it just sounds. It's like in baseball, people, oh, make him a reliever. Well, little different situation here. How difficult is that transition to going from tackle into the interior for guard?
Yeah, the timing is what's so different, right? Guys that have played tackle for their whole career are used to, hey, let me push out of my stance here and I've got a yard of separation and I have time to process and think before he makes a move or before I can throw my hands and get to him. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's move you inside here. And the second you put your hand in the dirt and you're like, dude, back up. Like, you're way too close to me. Like, and Aaron Donald or Dexter Lawrence is just trying to take up every inch of that neutral zone you have. Things just happen so much faster inside at guard. And you have to have so much more of a mental makeup at guard with, hey, how am I identifying blitzers? How am I working with the center when this is the Mike point and the Mike point decides he's going to bail? We have to kick out to the nickel coming off the edge. That's a lot to process. Oh, by the way, Dexter Lawrence coming straight down my chest.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many things that the processing versus 99% of the time when you're playing tackle, your job is to block the werewolf on the edge. Right. Take him. Make sure he doesn't kill your quarterback.
Dude,
I have a question for Jeremiah. Is this a one-off, or is this like a new phenomenon that 3 guards
I know
went in the top 24?
That's wild.
I have a theory on this, okay?
Because I don't think Jackson was their top-rated guard.
I think Zabel
But
was.
that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're picking 24, it's hard to expect that you're going to get the number 1 player at the position you're targeting.
But here's
the
the thing.
Vikings accomplished their number 1 goal tonight.
Yeah,
So you can celebrate that. But how shocking is it? 3 guards, top 24?
Very.
You tell me if I'm wrong on this, but listen, I played some football in 8th grade.
Oh, yeah.
So I know a little.
Buffalo Middle School?
Yeah, community middle school at the time. Yeah, BCMS. But if I've learned one thing from being on the O-line committee and soaking in a decade and a half of NFL experience, it's that recently it feels like teams have gone so aggressive with interior pass rushers and even some of the schemes they run to get guards on an island. And so if you got guards doing things that tackles are supposed to do on an island sometimes, and if there's guards that are tackle-like in their abilities, teams are going to swoop those guys in the first round, especially in today's age with these ridiculous interior pass rushers, right?
Yeah, and no, you're 100% right. And with not just the interior pass rushers, but taking the edge guys and having a NASCAR package where you're bringing 4 defensive ends to rush when it's 3rd and 8.
Right.
And you need to have a guy at guard that has the athletic ability to stay in front of a guy that runs 4.4, 4.5 and is 275 pounds. The hard part of that is you also want to make sure that guard can move the 330-pound roadblock that's in front of him to get going. It's why Will Fry's made $77 million. It's why Landon Dickerson's making $21 million. It's why Robert Hunt's making $20 million. Those things have become so important because as we watched Braden Fisk and as we watched guys from the Rams, push from the middle kills quarterbacks. It kills their timing. It kills their confidence. It kills their ability to escape out of the pocket. That's the number 1 killer for quarterbacks right now. Ask Caleb Williams. He got absolutely murdered last year.
And I think there's no question about this. Garrett Bradbury is gone in large part because J.J. McCarthy's the quarterback next season. And O'Connell had no interest in seeing a guy with 0 sand in his pants get pushed around. Like I think with Cousins, I think with a veteran, he thought, okay, we can manage this. But with McCarthy, he's like, no. The other thing, though, that I find to be so intriguing about this whole new world of offensive linemen as well is the amount of, because I don't remember this at all 10 years ago, guards that are considered potential tackles. Like it feels to me like if you were a guard or center, but you were not just going to kick out to tackle. And now some very elite athletes are doing that or considered capable of that. And that's a real change, in my opinion, about the scouting and the whole process of linemen.
Yeah, I mean, the age of the AQ Shipleys, of the 6 foot tall, 300-pound center guard doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right? The guards are 6'4" is the standard, and more like 6'5", 6'6", and then your tackles are 6'7", 6'8". Right? That's just people are bigger.
Specimen, just
People are bigger and larger,
specimen.
and you have to be able to get in front of these guys and cover them up.
And they're athletes.
And they're hell
really good athletes.
Will
now.
Campbell ran a 4.98. That's really impressive.
Real quick, couple things here. So the Ravens at 27 have selected Georgia safety Malachi Starks.
Who the Vikings like. So another guy, if you're going from 24 to 34, the Vikings had the intel that Starks wasn't going to be there at 34.
Yeah.
The Ravens just take good players who fall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you pair him with Kyle Hamilton, that's a hell of a back end.
I was going to say,
man.
That
It's
is
gross.
a hell of a back end.
yeah, they have some good safeties there in Baltimore.
And we have Kevin O'Connell has spoken to the media about Donovan Jackson here. I'm just going to read you some quotes here that are coming across Vikings Twitter. So Kevin O'Connell said about the Vikings first round pick, "We see Donovan as a huge impact player for us on the inside." He also added, "He's very lethal at the point of attack. They ran behind him a ton. It's that second level finish in the run game, play through the whistle kind of mentality."
Football.
So, I mean, that's the other thing. We talk about the interior pass rush being a problem throughout the year. But with revamping the offensive line, KOC talking about the run blocking ability of Donovan Jackson. And then I think, to me, actually, I think my favorite offseason acquisition was the 6th round pick or whatever it was they traded for Jordan Mason.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, Jordan Mason
Yes.
is, let me pull this up here from, there's a couple incredible statistical markers.
You loser.
I know Jay loves statistics.
Loser.
But NFL Next Gen Stats measures something called expected rush yards. So, I mean, Saquon Barkley's the king of this. That's a well-blocked play. That's an 8-yard gain, and he turns it into a 25-yard gain. I mean, like, take away the stat. That's a thing.
Yep, for sure.
Right?
Keep going with your
So-
nerd stuff.
Jordan Mason, here's the NFL leaders in rush yards over expected based on how it was blocked, player movement tracking. Running backs. Number 1, Derrick Henry last year. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. Number 3, Jordan Mason in rush yards over expected.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I stand for Jordan Mason.
For sure.
Is my grand plan here.
My hottest take that I had written down earlier for tonight was I think it'd be a massive mistake for the Vikings to draft a running back early because Jordan Mason's the best back KOC has ever had. It's not even close. You look at the running backs he's had.
Yes.
Okay, so when he was in the Rams, it was Cam Akers. God bless him. That offense was passing down your throat. I could have been the running back and gotten my Super Bowl ring. Would have probably gotten seriously injured, but would have gotten a Super Bowl ring. When you look at he was OC in Washington, didn't have this back. Dalvin Cook was over the hill. Alexander Madison, they tried to make a starting thing. That didn't work. And I like Aaron Jones a lot, but Jordan Mason's easily the best back that he has ever had at his disposal.
I think the most important thing is this. Last year, the Vikings talked about being nasty. They are now nasty.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's go.
the lip service is gone. The Lions
Go.
coming in and blasting you off the
See you
ball is
barking.
gone.
Yeah.
I want to know what is their identity in the run game going to be, because you've now brought in enough pieces that I think you could be a zone first, gap scheme second, or a gap scheme zone first, or gap scheme first, zone scheme second, right? You have the versatility on that offensive line to kind of pick and choose what you want to do. And then you have the tackles with the pin and pull schemes to get on the edges after you've gone downhill, get O'Neal out on the edges, get Darisaw out on the edges, get that stuff going. I'm curious as OTAs progress and Donovan gets in there, as he gets up to speed, as training camp progresses, how do we come out of training camp going, hey, this is our identity, where I don't care if you line up with 7 guys in the front, 4 guys in the front, 3 guys in the front, this is going to work because we're going to kick your ass up front. And that's just the way we're going to do it. Yep.
How much was tonight about trying to overcome the Philadelphia Eagles?
It's all, yeah. You got to beat the king. They're the king in the NFL right now. You want to win, you got to take a shot at the king. You can't miss, right? They watch Kansas City. They watch them get slaughtered up and down the field with their offensive line not being able to get any push in the run game, getting Patrick Mahomes killed, which was glorious to watch, and just continuing to go through it. But this is right. You got to bolster yourself to take a shot at the king in the NFC.
But those last 2 games, so you played the Lions and got your ass kicked. You played the Rams and basically got destroyed.
Demolished.
And then you went home, sat on your couch and watched the playoffs. Like, what more did you need? Like that was, you got the recipe there. Like
Yeah.
they sent you the recipe book. You better read it.
Yeah.
So like to me that was the playoffs for me as a viewer. Just it literally pushed me off the cliff of, if you're not going to do this, you're not going to win.
So the 28th pick is in here. The Lions have selected Ohio State defensive tackle Tyleik Williams. So there are now
Another
4 picks
possible
left.
Jackson spot that the Vikings just knew he wasn't getting the 34.
Yeah. So Commanders, Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles are left to pick here. We've been talking about the Vikings run game. Hey guys, thanks for coming out tonight. Really appreciate you guys. You and I sat down with Booney earlier this week. I think this would be a great time to show the viewers on YouTube and the folks that are grinding it out with us here almost to 4 hours at the Fillmore, Jordan Mason on film.
Let's do it.
So if the awesome guys in the back over there, thumbs up. So our guy Booney, we try to get Booney out here, but he's always running kids around to his own kids, not always random kids. So he's in Chicago.
Do you want to go to Crisco first before that happens?
Oh, sure, Crisco. Yeah, let's do Crisco, then we'll
let's
do
go
a
to
film
Crisco
breakdown.
first, and then we can do the film breakdown.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm here with Eric from Fargo, and you wanted to make a comment. Do you have a hot take about our pick, and you have a question?
Yeah, I got a hot take. It just feels like there's a bunch of high upside players that were there that I didn't expect to be there. Somebody like Malachi Stark, somebody like Jihad Campbell, and then also with that generous Giants offer, you still could have got a very impactful player down there at 33. So my hot take is I feel like this is a very safe pick. And my question is, do you think that Kwesi not having an extension before the draft affected the tendency to make the safer bet here and not swing for the fences with a high upside player, or try to get future picks knowing if he may not be there to make those picks?
Yeah, that's so valid question and critique. I would say, I think even though Kwesi does get the final say contractually in his position, I don't think his contract status had anything to do with short-term or long-term strategy, because Kevin O'Connell is equally or maybe even more influential in the way that communication process works. So yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think he's making decisions based on being like a lame duck general manager. And I do think an extension's on the way anyways. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna watch him operate tonight, and like you don't know if these players are gonna pan out for like 3 more years. So
this
and on the safe picks, I just don't think they thought one of their guys was going to be there at 34.
Yeah.
I think they came to the conclusion days ago that they were going left guard tonight.
Well,
and it was going to be one of the guys.
Can't totally
It would have been
blame him.
Zabel if he was there. It would have been Booker if he was there. It ended up being Jackson, who they brought in for a visit. They did unreal homework on. They're plenty happy.